Otter's here to give you some short, snappy feedback on your assessments. Now for some people's first and silliest mistake, you have got to use the past tense. This should be very straightforward. You should use did, you should use was, you should use had, not these things. In at number 2, simple mistake. You should know to use paragraphs to structure your work. Have a little look at your work. Can you see more than one paragraph in each question? Because you should. The third mistake that people made is what I call revision diarrhea. You've done so much revision, you're determined to show what you know, regardless of what the question asks you to say. Here was your question, and this was a really common mistake. You, or many of you, neglected this word, effects. You told us that the bonus march was a load of veterans from the First World War who wanted money they were owed, but you didn't tell us what the effects of the bonus march were. Have a look at your answer. Did you have revision diarrhea? If somebody were to ask you the question, how do you get to York Minster from here? What you wouldn't do is tell them all about the history of York Minster, because that would be weird. They didn't ask you to tell them the history of York Minster. What you would probably tell them is the directions, and it's the same in your history assessments. Answer the question that's in front of you. Don't just regurgitate everything that you know about the topic. And finally, you might feel a little aggrieved looking at your results when you see that you've used the word link or you've said that something's the most important but failed to get the marks. Well, the problem probably is that you haven't explained how they link. It's no good to say that something links unless you explain what the relationship is, because I could have just told you to put the word link in, and that won't fool anybody, it won't fool the examiner. And you might have said that something is the most important, but what is it that makes it stand out? That is key, particularly something that you've got to include in your conclusions, especially the bit about what makes something the most important. You have to always think and analyse the information given to you and decide what is the most important cause, and some of you failed to include that in your conclusions, which was a little surprising. And that's all, folks.